I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team that won. I hope my team that won. Yeah, man. I hope my team that won. I hope my team that won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won a lot. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Ville, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data, which is hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson. And you gon' learn today, you gon' learn today, how your team they play. You gon' learn today, how your team they play, how they play, yeah. We represent that swag, that Meac, and let me say, what's up to Tennessee, stay, you tune into the HBCU Sports Lab, with Dr. Ville, Mike and Charles,
This is Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop, presented by Amber Slaughter, the project architect. Amber Slaughter, the project architect, where they handle the project planning, project development, project execution, and team management, so you can run your business. Contact Amber Slaughter, the project architect, at www.theprojectarchitect.com to schedule an appointment. That's www.theprojectarchitect.com to schedule an appointment. Welcome and thanks for joining us inside our studio lecture hall, the HBCU Sports Lab, as we have like to affectionately call it, for the only weekly sports talk radio show that is dedicated to exploring the sporting HBCU diaspora, including the marching sport with its unique HBCU culture identity, the teams, the band, coaches, athletic directors, commissioners, provosts, presidents, executive directors, big rivalry matchup, classic games, homecoming events, and much, much more of the HBCU athletic aesthetics. As we emerge our lecture with sport business practices in the competitive sports industry, the show seeks to provide innovative, progressive, and informative dialogue about the week's HBCU sporting events, issues, and ideas from a fan's perspective. We review the Southwestern Athletic Conference, better known as the SWAC, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, better known as the Meac of the NCAA Division I, Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, SIAC, Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, CIAA, of the NCAA Division II. And the CIAA is getting into their CIAA tournament.
Yes, they are.
Classic as it is in itself. As well as the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference with Langston University, as well as Texas College as affiliate member. But this time of the year, Texas College is playing all its other sports except for football, as we say, affiliate member, for those who may not know. They're in the Red River Athletic Conference.
Yes, indeed.
Over there with Jarvis.
Jarvis Christian College, Wiley College, Paul Quinn College. Who else I got a name?
Oh, he's showing.
Say it with your chest, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Houston Tillerson University.
Yeah, all those Northeast Texas schools. Yeah,
I feel you. Good job there. As well as Edward Waters as they transition from NAIA to NCAA Division II and membership in the SIAC and NCAA, obviously. I'm Dr. Kenyatta, a.k.a. the Dean of College of HBCU Sports. First, get anything out there, I want to say thank you. Thank you to our fans and supporters. We usually get around 1,000+ hits. This time of the year maybe dips a little bit. But we had a whopping 2,000 viewers this past weekend of the show.
Thank you.
So just wanted to say, say it. Thank you. Obviously, we can't do it without you. But that's what we do.
Yes,
and
indeed.
In fact, if you let me go on a tangent a little bit to let you know, as you see the helmet, as I was in Atlanta at the Black College Hall of Fame, and I got my hands and the opportunity to get this. So I made sure I did, and it's for the viewers. Yes. I have it put it front and center.
Yes, indeed.
So you can get on there. Think of some of these names. Everson Wall, Eric Williams, Ed Too Tall Jones, Earl Harvey, Shaq Harris. Oh my goodness.
Kenny Houston.
Yes, indeed. And many, many more.
Yes.
Hollywood Henderson. Ooh, boy, it's just full of names on there, and I was like, I got to have it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a Cowboys fan, as many may not know, because I'm not beating my chest out there. I'm not sure the Cowboys fan had much to do with it. But people know that I really have stopped following the NFL for the most part. But the legacy in terms of the connection between these individuals in HBCU sports, with Ed Tuchal Jones, Hollywood Henderson, Eric Williams, I had to get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got a picture with Eric Williams as he went in this year. Told him I appreciate allowing me through my fandom to be a part of that. So it was magnificent.
That's awesome
to see these names on here. So yeah, everybody represented. Heck of a class, including Commissioner of the Meac,
Dr. Dennis Thomas.
Dr. Thomas
Mm-hmm.
was getting it done in a lot of ways. So he's up there. So it was Earl Harvey, North Carolina Central University, quarterback there. He's on there. So heck of a class. Hunter, as you see the names in there, I brought back the book for Mike Washington, but if he get in here too late, he might be left out. Y'all ain't gonna be able to look and take a picture of the helmet. But I got one. And,
Yeah.
Doug Williams signatures on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. So Coach Taylor went in, Eric Williams, Dr. Thomas, Mathis.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there. Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
who's no longer with us, rest in peace. Grambling got it done in Harvey with a class. They did the Player of the Year.
Earl Harvey.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm sure
indeed.
you'll talk a little bit about that. But before I got that, I was doing my thing. I went down to University of the Bahamas. I'm working on an MOU articulation agreement, doing some curriculum design for them. And it reminds me so much of a HBCU campus, except for it's on the island, so it's cool, along with the Greek center plots out there as they were out there basking in the globe, getting in class. And they had the same problems that I have at Texas Southern University in terms of professors, people trying to turn into paperwork, paper late. So it was just funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took care of me down there, and then I got a chance to fly from that. So I went from Houston to Fort Lauderdale to Nassau, stayed a day in Nassau, met with Ministry of Youth Sports and Tourism, as I'm working on a project that they basically support it. So once we can get some signatures and stuff like that, I'll announce it here. And so we're going to look to maybe do it this November, December time frame. And if not in 2020, we'll certainly be able to kick it off in 2021.
Sure thing. Mm-hmm.
So excited about that announcement. Obviously, as I told you, working on the curriculum side in terms of development, be able to partner or MOU between Texas Southern University and the Bahamas, University of the Bahamas, as well as Prairie View to some extent. And so that's big news. And so got from there, report, found out some places I'm already planning my retirement, which will kick off officially on 50th year as a birthday party next year. I'm already planning for it. So I scoped out the facility about how we're going to make that work. So that's already documented and laid out as we begin that. You know, I like to plan far in advance. You know this, Charles, as I
all too well
get things going. Got a scholarship, went through in terms of travel per diem. So I'll give you a allotment of that, what
Perfect.
that looks like that.
Perfect.
So got that kind of good news. But came back from Freeport into Nassau, flew out of Nassau, back to Fort Lauderdale, and then decided to go up to Atlanta.
You were busy.
Got that in. Talked to John Grant, the executive director. Got to talk to Dr. Charles McCullen, obviously the commissioner of the SWAC, Dr. Dennis Thomas, commissioner of the Meac. Got some insight of what's going on and how he's feeling about things. So I'll be able to give you some updates of how they plan to move forward. Got a chance to introduce myself to Jackie McWilliams over there at the CIAA. She's ready as they kicking off now. Mike comes in here, just gangbusters. I'm back! Okay, Mike. We see it. Not one to tiptoe around lightly anywhere, are you, Mike? Okay. So as I finished my story and let this man set up, so I then flew back to Dallas and talked to my brother a little bit, and got out there and got home. Did this all in 4 days. So Mike think he does the travel. I'm able to get things done and get out there, and I still find a way to get into the studio. So I'll throw that in there as a little.
You gentlemen are busy. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Without further ado, and shout out to my son, as we affectionately call him, Deuce, Little Deuce, Little Professor. He's doing his MLK thing tonight, so I hate that I couldn't participate in it, but Faith is holding up that end. And,
Awesome.
he got his little hands out waving, and he's taking pictures. He's excited, and did his little song that he practiced, Dr. Martin Luther King, quoting him. He did this. It was nice. It was nice. So I'm so proud of him. So with that, that's a little enough for me. Get everybody excited about it. Let's get to the business and talk about some stuff going on. Before you get in the news, I got to just jump out there. We'll get in some more details about these things going on, but I thought that Texas Southern loss yesterday was a tough one.
That's Monday night. Yeah.
You always said about the Monday night and which ones go down.
Yeah. It goes
I was
down
thinking about
Monday
how
night.
close they played Valley, and maybe it was Prairie View's time with Valley, still out, player for 2 games, and they got it unscathed, got it done, got the 2 victories.
Got it done.
Not so much for Jackson State, as they lost a tough one.
Yeah.
To Grambling, their rival in that Saturday matchup. So we get a little muscle in that, but 2-game lead plus the point differential, man.
There you go. Exactly.
That's pretty intriguing with
Right.
4 left, 2 home games, 2 in a row. Obviously, big matchups with those last 2 with Alcorn and Southern, as they're trying to position themselves in. So I think it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. But let's get into some of the regular news of the day that you like to give us weekly, and then we can get in a little more about some of these matchups that took place this weekend.
Sure thing.
Good to have you back in on a serious note, Mike.
Yes, indeed, Mike.
Let's take care of business.
No doubt about
I
it.
appreciate it, brother.
Let's go with breaking news this afternoon.
Breaking
This
news.
comes from the SWAC office.
Oh, yes.
SWAC Council of Presidents and Chancellors announced McClellan contract extension. Southwestern Athletic Conference Council Presidents
5 years.
and Chancellors have voted unanimously on a 5-year contract extension for SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClellan. And this is a quote from Dr. McClellan. I'm extremely humbled to have the opportunity to serve as the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I'm also very excited about what the future holds for the conference office and our 10 member institutions. As we stated previously, our overall objective is to make the SWAC one of the best conferences in the nation. Our membership has my unwavering commitment that we will leave no stone unturned as it relates to achieving this goal. So that was huge.
You know it's big when you use like words like unwavering.
There you
just
go.
Toss them in there. You know that's big.
Hey, and I was teasing. I told you I talked to Charles, and he told me he was gonna put that out there that he signed it. So I said I'll wait till the news release and try to sneak it out there. But he told me, he said, yeah, he got it done. I said, oh, must be nice.
It's nice.
And he actually got it done a couple of weeks ago. It's nice when you so busy with stuff and you don't have to immediate release stuff like that. You're like, oh, by the way, I need.
I know, right?
I said,
Exactly.
all right, okay, I see. If that's the way things are going now, let you do that. So, what other news you got the other day?
Well, you touched on it being at the Black College Hall of Fame, but wanted to say kudos again to the class of 2020 inducted into the Black College Hall of Fame. Earl Air Harvey from North Carolina Central University, James Hound Dog Hunter from Grambling State University, Robert Mathis from Alabama A&M University, Eric Big E Williams from Central State University, Coach Joe Taylor from Florida A&M, Hampton and Virginia Union, and Dr. Dennis Thomas, who is the Meac Commissioner. So kudos to all of those inductees into the Black College Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
That's real nice.
Yes,
got
indeed.
that in there. Good job.
Hey.
What you got? You got any players of the week before we pass the mic to Mike over there? As he, Mike, man, you need glasses now. You all looking at your list.
Hey, we always have always have players of the week ready to go.
Hey, I got your book. Did you get your book? Because if you don't get your book, Charles go get it for you.
Oh,
I got him one.
Yeah, I had to read real
he was
quick.
reading my book.
I know mine's sitting right up under the computer. So.
Yeah, make sure nobody get it. Put that out there. So that's your gift. I got other gifts in the car. You can't put those all on television. People be all
I can't. We can't put all the gifts on television. On the radio? Why not?
Because we streaming. It's not just radio.
Why not? We're transparent here.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
You
sir.
gonna let you be transparent?
I'm about to say, that transparency.
We are a transparent organization. Unlike our government, we are transparent.
Oh,
Shots fired.
toot, toot. Hitting it like that. What else you got, Charles?
Yeah, let's take a look at we'll start off with the Meac this week. Meac Players of the Week, they were announced, and it was redshirt senior guard Jabri Blunt of North Carolina Central, as well as Coppin State sophomore center Brendan Medley Bacon, who was named the defensive player of the week. Jabri Blunt, Offensive Player of the Week, had a brilliant week on both ends of the court, leading the Eagles to victories over Maryland Eastern Shore and Howard. Offensively, he averaged 24 points, 1.5 assists. Defensively, he averaged 14.5 rebounds and 2 steals and 0.5 blocks. Double-doubles in both contests, including 28 points, 18 rebounds against Maryland Eastern Shore, and then he comes back with 20 points and 11 rebounds against Howard. We take a look at Brendan Medley Bacon, the Defensive Player of the Week. He led the Eagles to a over Delaware State, garnering 13 rebounds, 10 of them defensive, to go along with 5 block shots. He also pumped in 16 points in the victory. It was Medley Bacon's 6th double-double of the season and his 4th game this season in which he had at least 5 block shots. So those are your Meac men's Players of the Week.
Yeah, that's a big win by North Carolina Central. Keeps them in the race. In a lot of ways, it looks like
Right
it'll go
there
down
on A&T's tail.
A&T, especially with the tough weekend for Norfolk State, losing 2 to take them out of first.
Right. That's
In control of things, they give up 2, so they need a lot of help to find a way to get back in there. And essentially, unless some upsets are made over the last couple of games, the last game of the season between North Carolina Central and North Carolina A&T will be on the men's side for an outright championship.
Outright championship.
On the women's side, it looks like Bethune-Cookman has pretty good control going on that side. They took down Norfolk State, probably the closest competitor in the race and team with the competition in there. So, as you allude to, that was a big win by North Carolina Central to get it done in a lot of ways.
Very
to
much
keep
so.
themselves in the race. So it'll be interesting going down the splits. And this time, it's at North Carolina Central.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
And they have a little payback. So it'll be apropos in a lot of ways if it comes down to North Carolina again between Central and A&T for a Meac championship. Well, on the men's side again.
No.
So what do you have in terms of SWAC Player of the Week? You have some news that you want to jump out there before we get to the SWAC Players of the Week?
Well, while you're doing that, it's nothing in comparison, but in the CIAA releases its 2020 basketball tournament brackets. So that was a couple of days ago. The CIAA announces the 2020 men's and women's. The single elimination tournament will be held in 2 venues again this year. Bojangles Coliseum, February 25th through 26th, and Spectrum Center on February 27th and 29th. That's this week, y'all.
Yeah.
So, championship games will tip off at 1 p.m. for the women, followed by the men at 4:30 on Saturday, February 29th. Virginia Union solidified the women's Northern Division title and top seed in the division with a win over Virginia State on Saturday, and finished the regular season at 13-2, which is a solid finish as well. But by virtue of a coin loss, Lincoln, that's in Pennsylvania, y'all, receives the number 2 seed in the North ahead of Bowie State, who will be the number 3 seed after both teams finish 12-3.
Coin flip.
Yeah, and league. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Coin flip. As a reminder, the conference's tiebreaker record is as follows: divisional record, head-to-head point differential, and then another coin toss. I'd like to see that coin.
You don't say, Mike.
So Elizabeth State will be the number 2 seed, followed by Virginia State as the number 5. In the Women's Southern Division, Fayetteville State clinched its first or clinched the title and the top seed with a 15-2 conference record. Johnson C. Smith finishes in the number 2 spot with a 12-5, while Winston-Salem State comes in as the number 3 with an 8-9. That seems like a big differential.
Yeah, it is.
And then rounding out the rest of the seeds, you have Livingstone at number 4, St. Augustine at number 5, followed by Shaw and Claflin at number 6 and 7, respectively.
4-5 matchup.
Yes, indeed.
Always go either way.
Yeah. So again, the women's tournament will tip off Tuesday, February 25th at 10 a.m.
That's today.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Getting it
That's
done.
today,
That's
so I don't
That's
know
lit.
how they finished. I hadn't checked the scores. I've been
We'll get you some.
I've been traveling, so unlike Dr. Cavill and my comrade here, I couldn't get here. They changed the sign since I've been traveling. So I thought I was getting off 288 on the 610, and
They got you.
I was on my way down the Pearland.
I was about to say.
Had to loop around. Oh, you would have been on time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They stole your time, Mike.
Yeah.
I'll take that back. Everything I said about it.
I'm not gonna make excuses. I claim it. I own it. Yes, claim it, own it, whatever.
Houston
But
traffic.
they done changed it on me.
They
So
did. That was
Yes,
tough.
the men's real quick. The men's Northern Division was clinched by Virginia State. No surprise. Who finished with a 12-3. The Trojans are followed by Virginia Union. No surprise. And then you look at the Southern Johnson C. Smith, but you got to favor the Virginia schools because if you look at head-to-head division, the tops in the North basically have the advantage. So I just wanted to round that out.
Before we get to this timeout and break, and we'll bring it back to you, let me give a shout out to some of the listeners here. We have James St. Patrick, the mighty Merrill from Hampton, said Merrill should be the player of the year. That was interesting. St. Patrick, he's certainly talented, and you in a lot of ways, if you give it to him, which I can't blame you. You talking about a career award, and there's no doubt that he deserves a career award because he's been putting in the work. In terms of the conference record, they have 8-8. Now they sitting at the 3rd position, several games out of first and second. But that all said, Murrow is certainly putting in work.
He had
Can't
player
argue
of
about
the
that
week
part.
honors.
So
in
great
the
point,
South.
James St. Patrick. Thank you for sharing that. Willie Alex Hines says, as usual, here to give my HBCU news. Appreciate you, Willie. Certainly going to give it to you. Chuck Hunt checking in from Monroe, Louisiana.
Mr.
What's
Hunt.
up there?
Monroe.
Mr. Hunt. The guy from
Monroe.
North Carolina A&T made the ESPN highlights with record-setting basketball
Yes.
performance. Great point. I saw that. They're looking nice. Willie Alex Hines says attended the Virginia Union game this past Saturday, and it hurt my heart that the Panthers swept my Trojans. I bet you did hurt your heart. You're not used to getting that done to you very much. In terms of your men's team, you're usually very talented. So a little tough news. Virginia Union women's been doing well, but some other teams have taken over the CIAA this year. Both men's and women. Yeah, that's hard when you take 2 losses on the weekend. Good evening, brothers. Checking in from Dallas. FAMU football and basketball teams undefeated at home for the season. Great point. And
Great point.
Yes.
They doing some work.
indeed.
Men's side on the basketball. And
Yeah.
as you said, obviously the football program got it done.
Good shout out.
Shout out,
Good
Kevin.
damn.
Yeah, I snuck that in there. Right
Damn you mean.
Chuck Hunt, Derek Banks getting us Southern and Shreveport Jags. JUCO football coming 2020. The first JUCO football in Louisiana. Man, that's big news, Derek. I see what you doing, putting in work. That'll be interesting to see how that
about
goes.
that.
George Alderberry checking us out. Todd Jackson and Bernard Coleman Jr. out of Fayetteville State. Women never get any respect. 3 years in a row, division champs. You are absolutely right. Fayetteville State, the Lady Broncos are putting in work.
Yeah.
They earn, and we need to talk about them, showing some love. So, Mr. Coleman Jr., appreciate you bringing it up. Well done. Shout out to the Lady Broncos of Fayetteville State as they continue to get it done. 3
Yep.
division champions in a row. I don't care what you playing. Jacks, Tiddlywinks, you do 3 in a row,
Right.
you're going to hear from me. With that, let's go to this break. This is Dr. Cavill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Hanging out, but we right back. All 2K listeners.
More than 90,000
Alabama
children
State
have at
track.
least one parent in the Harris County Jail.
Oh,
These
yeah.
kids are twice as
Yeah.
likely to have mental health
Chris
issues
and women.
and 3
Yeah.
times as likely to end up in
Well,
trouble
let's get some more of that.
themselves.
We got
That's
we don't have a
really
call
sad.
today, so.
But when our sheriff, Ed Gonzalez, found out, he stepped up to help. Sheriff Gonzalez is making sure these children get counseling and support, and he's creating more child-friendly spaces for when they visit their parents at the jail. I'm voting for Sheriff Ed Gonzalez in the Democratic primary
So that
election
JUCO team
because we need
in
leaders
Louisiana
who
is
keep
owned
us
by
safe
Southern
and
University?
who care
Yeah, it's
about
one
kids.
of Southern has a system.
Okay.
So they have Southern University Baton Rouge campus, which is one that's FCS plays in SWAC that most of us know about. Then they got SUNO, Southern University of New Orleans. Then they got Southern
Vote in the
Shreveport.
Democratic primary
Southern in
election on
Shreveport
Tuesday, March 3rd,
is a
or vote
2-year
early,
Right.
school.
February 8th,
So they're gonna play.
Political ad
They're gonna start a football program at the JUCO level. And
The 2020
First
tax
time
season has
ever
come at Bayway
I've heard
Chrysler
of
Jeep Dodge
JUCO
Ram. And
football
Stephen Fisco's
program.
in the house.
HBCU period.
I want you to see all you can see.
Well, now
in
there's
2020.
Kahoma in Mississippi.
But I'm talking about football. They play football. Yeah, we have St. Edwards here, 2-year school. So I know several of the 2-year HBCU programs. I hadn't heard any of them that had played football other than way back when they first started playing football. There's nothing, anytime we say last 24 years. That's pretty cool to hear
What
that.
about a Chrysler 300? And you know I love the Dodge Charger.
She loves that black Dodge Charger, y'all.
Come see me right now at Bayway Chrysler Jeep and Dodge in Pasadena.
If you need reliable transportation, give Stephanie a call or come on by. And if you're credit challenged, Stephanie, help them
Let me help you establish or reestablish your credit.
right here at Bayway Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram.
In Pasadena. I want you to see all you can see in 2020.
See all you
Washington
can
& Sons
see.
Air Conditioning and Heating. Your full-service professionals. Reliable and affordable. With over 50 years of experience, you can trust Washington & Sons. Family-owned and operated, Washington & Sons provide quality solutions for your home or commercial property. Call 713-660-8683. 713-660-8683 to schedule your in-home, no-obligation consultation.
Washington & Sons Air Conditioning and Heating. We've been serving Texas and Louisiana for over 50 years. With integrity and honesty, we look forward to serving you.
Be sure and ask about our no interest, no payment special financing. Call 713-660-8683. Awarded numerous times by the Better Business Bureau. Washington & Sons. Call 713-660-8683.
At Sunnyside Dental, we believe that reputations are not built on what you say you're going to do, but rather by what you've already done. We at Sunnyside Dental have been providing excellent dental care in the Houston area for over 25 years. Before we recommend or perform any procedure on our patients, we simply ask ourselves one question. Is this what I would want done for me or my family members? If this is the kind of conscientious care that you are looking for, call Sunnyside Dental at 713-738-1999.
Mike,
We're located
what's
at
up?
4040 Airport.
Super
just
Dad, I love it.
Highway 288. We provide comprehensive dental care, including surgical extractions, crown and bridge services, implants, and implant retained dentures. We're here for you. Call us at 713-738-1999. That's 713-738-1999. Sunnyside Dental. Come in with a toothache, leave with a testimony.
Dr. Jarrett Bowles and his friendly staff at Sunnyside Dental look forward to serving you. Call 713-738-1999.
This is Beto O'Rourke. I had the pleasure of working with Sheila Jackson Lee for 6 years in the United States Congress. And in that time, I didn't meet a single member who worked harder than she did to deliver for their constituents. She brought much needed resources back to Houston and Southeast Texas after Harvey, and she proved herself a leader and a true public servant. That's why I'm proud to support Sheila Jackson Lee for re-election for the U.S. Congress.
Thank you, Beto. This is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and I approve this message. I have a passion for service. Every major incident, whether in my district, or city, or county, or state, I have stood by you. Or where families have been in distress, I have stood by them. I'm fighting for universal access to health care, more educational funding, climate change funding, and I've succeeded in changing the criminal justice system. I now want you to...
I want to be your Harris County District Attorney. I am a former prosecutor with a proven record and 15 years of experience.
experience. On March 3rd, vote for a DA who will reject the status quo and who will work with community partners to provide safety, justice, and solutions. It's almost time to vote in the 2020 Democratic primary. Together, we can be the change we want to see in our criminal justice system. Reach for the cloud.
This is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Just, wanting to give a little love to all those out there. Again, we hit 2K. We hadn't done that in a little while. We hit that every once in a while, but wanted to give a shout out for those that are putting in work and making sure that we get some love. We want to appreciate you and just wanted to make sure everybody knows how much we appreciate all that love.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm just about to give everybody that listens a little more, so just as I tease y'all with
why do I know what's coming?
I was about to say, let me guess.
What you talking about?
We ain't doing none of that. Boy, Rob Calloway, host of the HBCU Report, and right now, you're inside the HBCU Sports Lab with my guy. All hail the dean of HBCU Sports. You know I named him that. Dr. Kenyatta Kabil, my guy. What's happening, man?
What's happening, man?
What's happening?
Shout out to Dr. Alicia Russi, who was a frequent follower of the show. I really appreciate you with the watch parties and the way you share our platform.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Russi. She's Dr. Russi now.
Congratulations, Dr. Russi.
Yeah.
Anytime you earn that and put a little doctor on it, I'm
Yes,
gonna make
Lord.
sure you know what's going on.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, yes.
I understood what that takes to get that done.
I'm beginning to understand now.
Yes.
See, I told you, putting that to work. You thought I was playing with. Let me get back and before you give some more news, because there's a lot out there, and we're gonna cover it all. Talk about George Atterbury checking us out. Todd Jackson, appreciate the love. Fayetteville State, we talked about the women there.
Yep.
3 in a row, division champs. George Atterbury says, what can you tell me about Arkansas State? My Howard Bison play them in the fall. Charles, you got something on that?
Yeah, I mean, you have a tough FBS opponent. They finished second in the Sun Belt West. Behind Louisiana Lafayette this past season, but they won a bowl game. They beat Florida International Camellia Bowl, so tough component for the Howard Bison. So Arkansas State Red Wolves, they are a good, solid FBS team.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
8-5.
They kind of flow up and down. They are a hotbed of young coaches that get plucked to
That
go
is
to
true.
the Power 5 schools.
Very true. Mm-hmm.
So they are able to get some high quality coaches on the move, and it keeps the program right on the edge of the FBS level in the conference championship race in a lot of ways, but certainly in the bowl conversation. So
very much so.
Pretty solid program, I would say.
No doubt about it.
In terms of that move. Troy Lamont Coleman says A&T is going to put a football team on the field like never seen in HBCU football this year. You heard it here first.
Really?
Wow.
That's a lot of talk, man.
That's big talk.
People forget we've been playing HBCU football since the 1800s.
Tenfold.
There was a time when African Americans weren't allowed to go to anywhere at HBCU. So that's a major, strong statement. You got to put in modern. You got to put the word modern in
there. You go.
Then
there you go. Yeah.
You can maybe get away with that. And we are going to keep our eyes on A&T.
Very much so.
They can make a statement and go out with a bang.
In a blaze of glory.
In the Meac, as they head to the Big South.
Yes.
So, Lamont, we understand
but
the point.
Florida A&M and Morgan State got something to say about that.
You say who?
Florida A&M and Morgan State got something to say about that.
I understand.
The teams that'll beat.
Oh, did I say that? I said it out loud. My bad. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry, Aggies. I don't want to do that.
Bishop, man. They gonna start
What's that? Aggie pride? What? No. Oops, hold on. Not too much.
Hold on. Fam might be right there waiting on you. So.
Kendrick Callis, good friend there, Prairie View 8. What's up, guys? We here giving you love. Appreciate the love.
They start spring practice. Yep. About to start.
So, Charles, what else you got?
Yeah, a shout out to or kudos to Tennessee State's Chris Rowland as he won the Deacon Jones Trophy this past at the Black College Hall of Fame ceremony, and he is the first player from not a traditional HBCU conference who has won the Deacon Jones trophy.
That's
so
a great point.
Yeah, so while at Tennessee,
he was player of the year for the OVC. You hadn't seen a lot of those,
right.
that will put somebody in position to be a finalist.
And he had a huge year. I mean, he set a HBCU record, 104 receptions during the season, eclipsing the old mark of 103 set by Jerry Rice in 1984. First team All OVC as a wide receiver and return specialist. Jackson State knows well about him. Rowland led the conference in receptions with 1,437 yards, all-purpose yards 2,110, and he was also the OVC Offensive Player of the Year, and he was the only Division I player, FBS or FCS, to score a touchdown via kick return, punt return, reception, and rushing.
Wow. Kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see that announcement. I was in Atlanta live watching that. It was nice. Major kudos for how they put it together. Man, there's so many luminaries walking around there. That was pretty big.
Man.
Looks like you got some more news. Before I do that, let me get a shout out. Kevin Crawford is already shot fired. You're not the only one. Aggies will lose to FAMU for the third straight year.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Lamar said, okay, since the end of segregation. Great. Yeah. I was like, all right.
That was good. I like it. Nice comeback. Nice comeback.
Nice comeback. Let's see. Mike, you got some more you want to get out there?
No. I was just wrapping up the CIAA conference, and I think that'll be interesting. The single game elimination. I wonder what your thoughts are on that with the CIAA.
Oh man, CIAA goes hard.
They go hard. Yeah.
And the last couple of years is Virginia State, but as you've seen by the teams coming in, it's changing the guard. Bowie State, Lincoln. So there's some different teams, but those old guards don't die young. So it should be a fascinating year for the CIAA tournament, both on the men's side and on the women's side, as you talk about it. And we'll get a little dab into some matchups, some scores. Sound like you wanted to get some.
What about Grambling?
Yeah, I was going to say shout out to Grambling Martez Carter in the XFL. 3 touchdowns. Everybody remembers Mr. Excitement around the SWAC. So he's doing his thing with the Los Angeles Wildcats. Shout out to Martez Carter.
No doubt. Much love. So with that, let's get into some of this basketball. Let's go back into the CIAA since Mike is feeling the CIAA. It is their tournament time.
It is their tournament, yeah.
So Mike is trying to tell us, say, man, we got a tournament. You need to talk about the tournament, man. He said, tournament. You're right, Mike.
I feel it.
Isaiah, before we turn the mic over to Mike, since we're going to tease him, since he feel like he just going to be able to talk all over the mic because he finally came in the studio. we going to teach him a lesson here about, play your role.
I always play my dang role.
That's probably the problem.
Yeah, that's probably the problem.
He's a corner three-pointer.
Yeah. So when I throw that on, be ready.
Yeah. All right.
Keep your head on the swivel. Be ready. I'm going to hit you. Isaiah, you have any updates that we need to know off the radar? Because you always sneak 1 or 2 in.
No, I'm just really excited for the CIAA Spades tournament. I just want to know who wins that.
Do they have a domino tournament? I mean,
no, leave it to Mike. I did want to punt this out. Sad news. I want to do a lot of respect all pouring. Saddened by the passing of Hall of Famer Lonnie Walker. Oregon State mourns the loss of former athlete and coach Lonnie Walker as he passed away Monday morning. Walker was inducted into the Alcorn A Club Sports Hall of Fame in 2005 and the SWAC Hall of Fame in 2011. Glad that he was able to get his kudos because look at some of the things he did. Walker led it in basketball, baseball, and tennis at Alcorn State from 1964 to 68. And before he took his talent to Mississippi, as they like to say over there, where the air is a little better.
Yeah, the water's a little
sweeter.
They
mess you up with that one. He actually out of the greater Houston area, from Texas, and was coached by Gillard. They coached at Prairie View down there.
Yep.
Before Gillard went to Prairie View and started coaching. To give you some kudos in terms of his talents, he was a 6'4" guard, was a SWAC Freshman of the Year at basketball in 1964-65, and catcher on the baseball team.
Wow.
Multi-sport player. As a student athlete, Walker was part of 3 men's basketball teams that won SWAC championships in 1965-66, 66-67, and 67 and 68. So that's 3 championships he earned playing by himself, and actually played with Charles McCullough's father.
Yeah.
That played on those
I noticed that
championship
time
teams.
frame, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Upon graduation, Walker was an assistant men's basketball coach under David L. Whitney.
The Wizard.
For 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the Braves posted winning season in 19 of 20 years, including NCAA tournament appearances 79-80, 81-82, 82-83, 83-84, as well as NIT appearances in 78-79, 84 and 85. If you remember that 78-79, they were undefeated till they lost in the tournament to Indiana, another team around that time. They went in undefeated as well. But that same NIT was the year they defeated Mississippi State, which shocked the world for a lot of folks at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And really played tooth and nails. You've had quotes from Coach Bobby Knight as he went back to Indiana. People may have kind of woke his name up. But Bobby Knight was talking about that was the best team he played all year.
Yes, indeed.
This was quote unquote at the time he was playing the Big Ten. Obviously, he won the championship.
A legendary team in the state of Mississippi.
So I'll let you know about that. And then finally in 84-85. So those years that they won the NCAA, obviously, is winning SWAC. So he's part of at least 7 conference championships as a player and coach.
Wow.
Probably a couple more that we're not listing there. In addition to his men's assistant duties, he also coached the women's basketball team prior to his wife Shirley Walker, who then took over as the head coach from 1978 to 2008. Another legend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So condolences to her
Mm-hmm.
and the family there. Walker went on to succeed Whitney as head basketball coach in Alcorn from 1989 to 93 as well. He should have had those honors. Talking about, boy, you talking about the passing of a legend. So wanted to make sure we got that information out.
Only
so
right.
We like to honor.
It's only right. Yeah.
Honor our legends about what's going on.
Very
Kudos
much
in a
so.
lot of ways
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Charles, what else you got?
Oh wow! Well, we're about to start talking about the CIAA tournament, so let's jump
get
right into it. Yeah.
So what are your predictions, or what is to look at in the CIAA?
Well, you know, y'all had mentioned it earlier, but that 4-5 matchup with Lincoln. If I'm not mistaken, Lincoln is taking St. Aug, so that should be a fun one as it kicks off tonight up there. So that's going to be a very interesting one to kind of keep your eye on. And I had just been looking at the individuals that made the all CIAA conference team. They have Daquan Williams. He's a guy who averaged a double-double, 12.6 points and 11 rebounds a game. And then you have Gary Jefferson with St. Augustine. He has 12.7 points per game. And then waiting in the wings for the winner of that is Johnson C. Smith, who won the CIAA South. So it should be, fun stuff. I love it around tournament time. You just never know how things can go when you get in tournament play.
Mike, is a team that you say keep your eyes on, whether that's winning it or that could be a part of a major upset?
As far as winning it, I think you have to go with Virginia State.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the season, you look at their offense versus defense, 7.5 differential
they have
against there, so definitely.
Differential.
Yeah, big difference. Close to 8. The next
analytics.
The next closest team is, I believe, is Fayetteville State, and it's like 4.5, and they're not even in the running. So, but that could be with strength of schedule. So, if there's any upset, I really don't see. Maybe Virginia Union will come in there and do some things. I think it's between those two, a horse race between those two. I don't see any other team really coming out of the CIAA.
Here's a weird team, Elizabeth City State. 1-5. They've had stretches where they've won 5, lost 4, but they got 3 guys who who are averaging double figures. So it's like, you just kind of started going through looking at some stats, and it's like, okay, man. Well, if there's a team that could get hot and can scare some people, maybe.
Well, Justin Faison with Elizabeth City State is playing really well, but that's about it. If you look at the top 10,
they got Zach Hobbs, Joseph Allen. They got a couple guys that can score.
Yeah, well, Zach Hobbs, yes. So
on the women's side, we talk about Fayetteville State. Is anybody going to stop that train?
I don't see it.
Absolutely not.
Anybody that we need to continue to watch is, obviously they reload with the players they got coming back. What makes Fayetteville State so tough?
Well, You look. I hate to go to stats, but look at the
please do.
stats. Look at the stats. You think the 7.5? Look at their their differential. They're a little bit close to 8 as well in the differential between offense and defense. They have 3 of the top 10 leading scorers in the conference.
Wow.
So that alone tells you
makes
that.
it a little easy when you're searching up the
That's
yes.
I'm going with Virginia Union for women's.
Virginia Union women's has a heck of a coach.
Virginia
and
Union.
Gilbert. She coaches perennial, got it done. She's kind of sneaking in the weeds as they've been behind the scene. So you say look for them to find a way to
around tournament time. Yes.
Yeah,
look for them.
And
that is a very good point. Tournament.
Everybody's sleeping on Lincoln, so I'm gonna let everybody keep sleeping on Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just gonna sneak that out there.
You gonna put that out there like that?
Good call.
Kwanzaa Murray, Player of the Year.
With that, SIAC. I know their tournament is the following week, but as they close out on the season this weekend, any matchups that stick out to you that we need to watch out for the SIAC in terms of what's going on there? I know you had some big wins this week. Tuskegee, Morehouse, traditional schools. Miles has won on the men's side, the West Division again as they continue to get it done after a couple of years, and so they're surging all over. They're just athletic program we talked about. We saw what they done in football, but now they find a way to get it done, at least in on the men's side in basketball. As they have officially won that division. So anything in the CIAA that we need to keep our eye on as we prepare for the tournament.
I think you touched on it, Miles. Miles was definitely. You stole the thunder on that.
Sorry about that. While we do that, before we get into some the Meac and SWAC, Tennessee State of the OVC, obviously Hampton and the Big South. Let me just jump in as we save the poll traditional at the end. I wanted to give us a little more banter to be able to talk about early in the show. So let's go with the women. So we can get into some of what's taking place in some of these matchups, if you would. Dropping out of the polls this week is Southern Jaguars, 13-13, 11-5. They split this week. Tough loss for them.
Monday night loss.
They're rolling again. Another one of those Monday night losses that stack up on you when you can't get at the top or you itching to try to make a traction at the top. It's intriguing about those Monday night games and what do they do for teams that start to separate themselves. Jackson State on the women's side, Prairie View now on the men's side. We talked a little earlier with the tough Monday night loss by Texas Southern University. North Carolina, and that was on free throws and overtime. Boy, wow. Dropping out, back to the women's side. This is Dr. Viz inside the HBCU report. Major Division women's basketball poll rankings, top 5 programs in week number 8 as we're starting to stack up these weeks and get to the end of the season.
We're closing it out, man. We're already doing baseball, and that we're all up on tournaments. So.
North Carolina A&T State Aggies, 18-8, 10-4, 28 points. They're outside looking in. Alabama A&M Bulldogs quietly have kind of surged in a lot of ways. 14-11, 10-4. They got some big wins this past weekend. 11 votes helped knocked Southern Jaguars probably out of the top 5 in terms of what they were able to do to them, getting that victory big time. So jumping in the polls, Hampton Lady Pirates continue to win. They moved up.
Solid team.
What they're doing in the Big South, just outside number 1 rank. They're 16-10 overall, 12-5 conference plays. Not ranked, they get in the top 5 first time this year. 31 points. Bring us to number 4, Texas Southern Tigers. 16-9, 11-3, 68, 4. They've been able to get around those 2 losses that they lost. That sits them firmly at second place, but that was with the loss of players, 5 players essentially in the first matchup, and then a couple of players for the second matchup. And it came at a difficult time of the season. They were playing their rival, Prairie View, and then the first matchup that Saturday when they hit the court again, that was against Jackson State, and just couldn't get it done. But it'll be interesting to see what that does in the tournament, because a lot of people are now not kind of focused on them when they were rolling, because everybody's focusing on Jackson State, rightfully so, how they were rolling. Record-wise, this is not going to be the team in the tournament that you expect to see because of what took place. That in a lot of ways, certainly against Prairie View, I think you have to say had a lot to do with the loss. They still played them tough.
Mhm.
Jackson State, you might argue Jackson State would have got them anyway, but certainly would have been probably a lot closer game, which means they would have a shot.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see how that plays out, in my opinion. But they're ranked number 4 this week. Bringing us to number 3, Norfolk State Spartans, 16-10, 10-3, tough loss to Bethune-Cookman, 75 points. Stay at number 3 though.
Yep.
And number 2 is Jackson State Lady Tigers. They're rolling 15-9, 13-1, 3 first place votes, 96 points. They remain at number 2. The problem is you have a team out of the Meac called the Bethune-Cookman Lady Wildcats.
Yeah.
That listen to this,
13-1.
13-1 in conference, but 21-5.
21-5.
Yes.
First HBCU Division I team, men or women, that hit 20 wins.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's, for the most part, in a lot of ways, why they have number 1. Again, they have a recent win over a top 5 program, Norfolk State. They was playing really well.
Yeah.
They took them apart. 7 first place votes, 100 points, remain number 1. Consecutive weeks that they're getting it done. Number 1 ranking in week number 8. What you say, Charles, about the poll ranking? Take it away. Eat it up, beat it up. What you think?
You know what?
Let me make it this week. Or what?
I'm very curious about this Texas Southern squad that has they're at, I guess, full strength again. Nia Mitchell, she comes back and she shares conference of the player conference of the week. I'm sorry, player of the week status with Jackson State's Amesia Williams. So Texas Southern is a different team with her and Siani Cryer. And I'll say this about them: they played really, really tough without both of them in the lineup at certain times. I think something to kind of keep an eye on with them is foul trouble, either Siani Cryer or Nia Mitchell. So those are a couple of things that you really kind of keeps them to me just under Jackson State. I think those are
as well as the turnover.
As well as the turnovers. They do turn the ball over more than you think they should. But I tell you what, the separation in the SWAC is very, very thin because Jackson State, Texas Southern, I think Southern is going to be just as strong as they normally are. Prairie View, we saw them knock off Jackson State. They're right there. And I tell you what,
they're getting better with respect.
And then
Coach Sandy Pugh type teams, they're gonna find things out.
Yeah,
and she's playing a lot of young players, and you tell they're getting a lot more comfortable. Now the question is will the wind hit them?
Right. Right.
But in terms of what they're doing, if they can get past that and get their second win, I like what you're saying, that their team at least that's going to be tough. Now the question to me in a lot of ways, though, is can they get into their top 4 spot where they can steal that quarter round home game?
Get that home game. That's going to be huge.
Get over the hump and get that victory and then find a way in Birmingham, then it can get interesting.
Right.
On the road, especially as a 5 seed, playing at the other 4, that's a game you can win 4-5, but it becomes tougher when you're on that road.
Very much so.
So to me, a lot of your talk about Prairie View to me is can they find a way to get in that 4th spot? And there's going to be a lot of jockeying between those teams. Alabama A&M, as we just
keep an eye on Alabama A&M coming in this weekend.
Talking about that in regards who are these teams that are going to find a way to get in that 4 spot. I think that's going to be interesting. Mike, what do you talk about the women's side of top 5? What
with the MEAC, the one question I have with, I guess, Bethune is they've kind of rolled through the MEAC. They do have one loss. What was it, to Norfolk State? Was that on the road?
I have to take
that was a 10-11 point loss, so pretty convincingly. So I have to ask, what was it about that? Other than that, I don't see any other team coming out of the MEAC really. And then on the women's, I think it's JSU's to lose. Really, just because of the way they play defense.
They do. I think they can play defense. The one thing I think that helped them out, and it's weird to say it, but the loss to Prairie View and Prairie View, I think that might go a long way for them in terms of when they get in tournament. In terms of, I saw them kind of try to fight back a little bit in that game, and they just came up short. They weren't hitting shots that game, but they are a tough team with Amesia Williams. She's a defensive presence. You can't go in the lane with her down there because she leads the league in blocks. She can score. And then Manisha Hamer, she is a scorer for Jackson State who helps them out by coming off the bench. She's 14 points coming off the bench.
And as a team, they lead the SWAC in blocks, steals. So that's why I say that defense travels. So I think so.
Well said.
Yeah.
Before we get in a little bit of the MEAC on the women's side, talk about Hampton when they get in. I got an upset alert. I love our followers, man. They keep on our toes, keep us out there. Courtesy of Ryan McGinty, that used to be a host of this show. So he's always obviously welcome to give us.
Ryan!
You talked a little bit about the bats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what we got? Upset alert. Texas Southern University, 7. Mississippi State, ranked number 4 in the country, 3.
Well.
Bottom of the 7, 1 out. 1-2 count at the time of the pitch, and they have a person on first.
Okay, bullpen.
Who's on the mound?
Yeah, let's go, bullpen.
Who's on the mound?
Let's go,
Robert
bullpen.
Loza, L-O-Z-A, Loza.
This is the difference between elite HBCU baseball teams and the other teams Division One. You know, what do you have?
Especially
who's on the mound?
4-point lead.
Exactly.
Man, you talking about being able to ping out some runs?
Yeah,
they put up 7.
Yes.
And that gives you a good chance.
Offensive,
you talking about the top 4 team in the country?
Yeah.
So look out for Texas Southern.
You always got to be careful with Texas Southern.
And the problem is usually they warm up near the end of the season.
So the end of the season, exactly.
Telling me that maybe they might be cranking it up a little early. That's going to be fascinating. Then I think you got some big matchups. I've seen on some baseball with North Carolina NT, FAMU, Southern, some baseball matchups coming up. You got the tournament over there in Jackson with Southern, Alcorn, Jackson State, FAMU.
What'll be interesting is North Carolina A&T has had pitching dominance in the MEAC last 2 or 3 years. Their average team ERA has been at least sub-2. Sub-3. No other team in the SWAC can claim that. They're all 5-6 ERAs. That's phenomenal.
So you're trying to say the MEAC plays better baseball?
No, I'm saying that one team, that one team in the MEAC, because in the SWAC it was all over the board. It was
better football,
upwards of 5,
better
6,
basketball, and better baseball.
Absolutely,
man.
Absolutely,
better track.
Hey, hold up, basketball. Hold on, Prairie View Panthers out there playing. That's what we know. That's what 24 straight games at home. The team ain't lost.
That's true. That's true. I can't see the basketball over to the MEAC.
Yeah, hold on. They hadn't. Come on down there to the hill. Come on, some of the MEAC teams. Come on down there to the hill. Send your best. Well, we rolling in basketball right now. We know what we're doing. We got us a Coach Byron Smith. We gonna get him on here. Talk a little bit about what he imagined that he was. Oh my goodness, he's getting it done in a lot of ways. So those are some updates. I wanted to make sure we get that out there. With that, let's see what people are saying a little bit before we crank it back up again, and then we'll get into this poll for the final component. Yeah. Shout out to Wendy Jenkins Bishop, making sure we get some good love in there.
Oh, sweetheart, how you doing?
There you go.
I better.
That is so sweet. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet.
The boy ain't right over there.
Hey, Andy, how you doing? Now,
on the men's side, we got some. Y'all, I'm gonna save you.
I'm just getting hazed on here like usual.
Top 5 programs on the men's side. We got some changes that went on the men's side. Things are changing.
Sam Cook, change going on.
Yes, sir. Drop out. Norfolk State Spartans drop out 13-15, 9-4, 2 consecutive losses. Talking about first place, and now they slid to 3rd. That fast.
Oh my goodness.
Tennessee Tigers that were playing some good basketball the last couple of weeks. Still overall record came in with a lot of Division 1, 16-13. Struggling mightily in conference, 8-8, and lost 2 straight this past weekend.
Yeah.
They were splitting 1-1, but couldn't even get the split this weekend. And one of the teams at the top of the conference, the other one's at the bottom. So that one was a really tough loss. When they were getting some decent wins against some of the teams at the top of the conference playing there, but not to be done. So receiving votes, Norfolk State Spartans, as you imagine, 37 points. Tennessee State Tigers, 28 points. And Hampton Pirates are sneaking around the chicken coop. They sit at just 8-8 in the conference, but their 8-8 is different as they are in the 3rd spot in old Big South, to give you some delineation of what's taking place there. But just at 13-6, so the records between Tennessee and switched in terms of overall, and are both even at 8-8. Give you some indication what you got to look at in terms of when you move conferences. What you can do in one conference may not be the same in the other conference, and it doesn't mean that you better.
Yeah.
But your difference in recruiting and what you got to do to recruit in one conference can certainly be different in another conference. So we'll see over the next couple of years how it plays off. We've had a long test for Tennessee State, and they just can't quite go over the hump in OVC.
Right.
And this is a Coach Penny that's known for recruiting and has some heck of a laser recruit. But it's just magic when you look at maybe the diversity of the talent pool you can get in those matchups. So some concern I have in terms of, as you talking about, looking at some of those analytics and social components that I like to bring to the table. Number 5, Southern Jaguars. Are we getting this top 5? 13-15, 10-5. Southern Jaguars are rolling again. They had their little bump in the middle as they started out 0-3. They went on a 6-game win streak. Tough loss to Jackson State rivalry game, but outside of that, they're back to winning again.
Won 4 in a row.
Yep. Yeah, they're 10-5. They're chasing that spot. The loss by Texas Southern, it puts them in position
right there
to be right there with that key matchup.
Coming up.
Texas Southern got two bedrooms.
That'll be a big game.
And go down to Prairie View and Alcorn for that factor. That's going to be looking at, again, as I told you, that proverbial 3rd and 4th spot are significant in terms of home matchups. And tournament-wise, if you can vault into that 2nd spot, you do yourself a lot of favor, particularly trying to find a way to get out of the 4th spot where you play that 15, which is usually pretty solid at 4th spot. So you want to find a way to get that 1st, 2nd, and at worst 3rd spot. So it's something that makes the end of the season real interesting. You got to fight there. Bring us on to number 4, Texas Southern Tigers, 13-14, 11-4. They remain at 4, but they're sliding in terms of points. Only 63 points. Tough loss on Monday night. Very bad loss when you look at the records. Arkansas Pineville was tied with 2 wins at the bottom of the conference, sitting at 9 and 10 respectively down there. So they vote up to 3, still sitting in the 9th position overall. Yes, it's on the road. Yes, it's a Monday. But if you're trying to find a way to put pressure on Prairie View in terms of where you believe you should be at the top of the conference, that's a dagger. That's a very tough, critical loss. Bring us to number 3, North Carolina Central Eagles. They bounced back, 14-13, 10-3. They were not ranked with 81 points, similar to Southern Jaguars. Those are teams that jump in the top 5 as they're playing really good basketball. Central bounced back from a tough loss to the Aggies, and but they jumping back in the top 5. Bringing us to number 2, the other North Carolina team, the A&T State Aggies are 15-14, 11-3, rolling again, 3rd place, so they move up a spot. Big wins this past weekend, 94 points, setting up, it looks like, for a showdown between Aggie Eagle Classic, if you would, or Eagle Aggie Classic, as they like to switch it around, talking about who it is. And since Carolina Central is had a home team, I'm going to say Eagle Aggie.
Eagle Aggie.
Right? Number 1, Prairie View A&M Panthers, 16-11, 12-2, 9 first place, 106 points. Remain number 1, so I want to continue to shout this out. This is a team that has quietly got it done. I'm going to toot the home. I've kind of let it out there. They've showed it, continue to do a lot of work. When you talk about 20 consecutive plus wins at home, you hadn't lost since 2018. That's crazy when you start to imagine this. They won the championship last year. They're in 1st place, 2 games. With 4 to play, with 2 of those games at home, they're putting themselves in a very good position to try to see 2 consecutive regular season championships, and then you'll see what you can do in the tournament. Boy, that's amazing in terms of what Byron Smith has done with the program.
Absolutely.
What do you say with the top 5 and or thoughts on Coach Smith over at Prairie View?
I mean, I can't say enough about Coach Smith at Prairie View. What did you say? Half defense will travel?
Yeah.
And Prairie View, they play defense. They get in your chest. They get on the boards. And they got the scoring punch with Gerard Andrus and Devontae Patterson. So
man, that mid-range game that
that mid-range
is a lost art.
And don't sleep on Jonathan Jackson, who also brings up the 3rd, the trifecta. He's bringing up some points too. You asked, do they have the depth as well, in addition to the defense? So they got 3 leading scorers in the top 15, plus the defense to back it up.
I think that's what makes them so tough. One is what they do on the defensive side. I'm totally in on that. Offensive, though, also, defense obviously will travel and put you in there, but what they put a lot of pressure on other folks' defense is what they can do offensively. One of the few teams in the SWAC specifically, but generally in HBCU, and just what we call mid-major and low-major programs is the fact that they can get points in the paint.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is driving, the way they pass the ball in the paint, the fact that they will shoot anywhere on the court, not just one thing, keeps it trouble for defenses, and they're able to get layups, close-range shots. Big man that plays very well under the basket, gives them a lot. And then they're able to shoot the threes. But they don't live at the three.
They don't live at the three-point line. That's a good point.
They're very good in terms of moving the ball and waiting until they get a very high percentage shot, which means when they're normally open. But they will also shoot the mid-range, which we don't see much in the game anymore. And at any level except for maybe women's basketball. So when they shoot that mid-range, it's fascinating to see the percentage they shoot at.
There was a description with the Bulls back in the day. I'm not by any means comparing. Is that they were long. Yeah, they're very long. That's true. So rebounding, not only just against the board, but out. The guards are rebounding. The guards are rebounding. Yeah. So you got numerous folks. If you look at the rebounders, they got 3 or 4 folks in the top 20 and just rebounding alone. So they're very long. But still athletic. And as both of you have alluded to, they shoot all over the court. Their percentage-wise, all over the court is greater than 50% on average in the SWAC, not season-wide. So,
anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I was shifting, looking at the loss to Texas Southern against UAPB. For whatever reason, bad loss, but UAPB plays Texas Southern so tough at home.
Year in and year out.
Year in, year out. If I'm not mistaken, over the last 6 games or so, UAPB has won 4 of them or something to that effect. So, that's a tough loss for Texas Southern. But back to Prairie View. Like I said, defense, and that mid-range game. I love watching Gerard Andrews.
Yes.
Darius Williams comes off the bench and he can light it up real fast. So they're just a tough team.
I see what you say. Anything on the MEAC teams as we get ready to come to a close?
Yeah, this is gonna be fun stuff with the Eagle Aggie Classic or the Aggie Eagle Classic. Yeah. So,
which one is it?
I know, right?
I got some Aggie folks I want to upset, so I'm gonna say Eagle Aggie. I'm gonna say Eagle Aggie.
Yes, indeed. So that's gonna be a great matchup. Yeah.
I love that. That'll basically do it for us. Make sure we shout out some final people if we can get some names back in.
I got to get one birthday shout out when you finish.
Go ahead. Do your birthday shout
to my son who turns 18 tomorrow. Your nephew turns 18. The big 18. He'll be leaving for University of Michigan Dearborn in August. Actually, I'm sorry. So. Kudos, shout outs to him. He said he would try to listen after lacrosse practice, but he probably didn't get a chance. So,
Serling Chuck Hunts sends it out there. Happy Mardi Gras 2020. It's officially Mardi Gras Day for those who celebrate. He said anyone who celebrates, appreciate that. Yes, happy Mardi Gras to you as well, Chuck Hunt. Alicia Russie says JSU Doc. The Russie. Wow. Texas Southern and Mississippi State on any given day. That's right. And Wendy Jenkins Bishop says, hi, guys. We love you. We appreciate it. With that, let's close it out. Final thought. Either one of you, give me something.
Looking forward to this weekend. Alabama A&M ladies coming in for the Texas two-step. Texas Southern Saturday and Prairie View Monday. Should be a good one. They are a tough basketball team. They should be fun to watch. It'll be interesting to watch and see what they do.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the opening rounds of the CIAA, and I started with it. I want to see what that looks like.
Yep.
So
we'll keep it eyes, and we'll give you an update next week to see who is crowned the champion this Saturday. As all the games will be streamed, so you get a chance to pick your eyes on it. And then the finals obviously is on Spire Network. Great job there. Dr. Phil's Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Amber Slaughter presented by the Project Architect. Amber Slaughter, the Project Architect, where they handle the project planning, project development, project execution, and team management so you can run your business. Contact Amber Slaughter, Project Architect, at www.theprojectarchitect.com. Again, that's www.theprojectarchitect.com to schedule an appointment. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We hope you enjoyed our lecture today. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday right here 6 to 7, right here on KSWH 1230 AM. That is KSWH, the source, right here in Houston, Texas. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DRKENYATTACAVIL on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon.
Course lecture dismissed.
Yeah.